All right. So, first thing I wanted to do was talk you kind of through, I won't share it just yet, the process with you guys. So, I want to just make sure that everyone's kind of got their process correct. So, firstly, I want you to make sure that you've read through that MyFitnessPal guide. That is going to really save you a lot of questions. It's going to help you plan your meals, your recipes, all that kind of stuff. And then if you have questions from that, please obviously feel free to ask me. Has anyone not read through the guide yet?
I have.
Yeah, awesome. Do you
I
have
haven't.
is that you, Jules?
Yeah, that's me. I'm getting
That's
to
all right.
it.
Can you get around to? I know there's a lot, but can you get around now that you're kind of familiar with tracking? Can you get around to doing that this week for me?
Yeah, I'll try.
It's a lot, I understand, but that will just help you so much. Um, Biggest thing I want to make sure, guys, make sure that you are tracking absolutely everything. Jules laughed when I asked her to track her lettuce, but yes, we've got to track everything because we want to be able to create. I can't think of the word right now. We want to be able to, in the future, be able to look at food and guesstimate, right? So we can kind of start building that nutrition literacy for the future. Okay, so when we are far away from our goals, we track everything. Once we are more adapt with this method and closer to our goals, and we've been doing this more frequently, then we can get away with like eyeballing measurements. But for now, we weigh everything, we track everything. Yeah.
Ash, it's Vanessa here.
Yep.
So I've, of course, been trucking for the last few weeks now, like absolutely everything. And I found where it's been really helpful is when I'm like invited to a friend's place and I've just gotta, don't have a scale, just gotta make an estimate that looks like 40 grams of tomatoes or something like that. So that's pretty helpful because you kind of build in that sort of estimation in your brain as to what it might look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And because there's so many times, like I went out for dinner on Friday night and I was like, there is no way I'm going to be able to weigh that steak. Like, I'm not in prep, so I don't have to weigh it because I'm not going to bring my scales out to dinner. If you were in prep, you're comp prepping, different story, right? But it just, again, it teaches you to eyeball it. Obviously, they sometimes they list it on there, but then they give you a whole heap of sides and you're like, well, that looks like it's only 20 grams of tomato. So, yeah. So, it's just a good way to start eyeballing and guessing your food. Exactly what we said when you go out to dinner. So, yeah, perfect, Ness. Um, so, with MyFitnessPal, every time that I adjust your calories and your macros on Trainerize, it doesn't sync that to MyFitnessPal. Okay. So, you will have to re enter those new goals in every time that if I change it for you. The only thinking that it does, it just allows me to think and see your food diary. So you need to make sure that your diary is on public view or friends. Actually, no, public, because for it to sync from MyFitnessPal to Trainerize, it has to be on public sharing. No one's going to see it, right? If you don't add friends to your MyFitnessPal, no one else is going to see it except me. Okay. So it's just another thing. Make sure you've done that. Um, all right, so everything must be weighed in grams, and I can't stress that enough. Even when you enter and you're guesstimating, everything has to be in grams. Now, if you scan a piece of bread, right, or you scan a barcode of something, sometimes, then it will come up with one slice, or you scan something and like, I saw this example the other day, the chocolate, what's the one that's got two fingers? Can't remember what it's called. But anyway, you scan it and it says one stick.
Oh, like Kit Kat?
Twix.
Twix. I think it was a Twix, but yeah, like that. It says so. It's only a small packet, but someone said they scanned the barcode and it came up with a stick. That's something to be aware of too. Like, I'm not going to eat one stick. I'm going to eat two. So you've got to just make sure that the serving size, even though you've scanned it, make sure the serving size is still correct. So make sure that there's two sticks and then you're eating and not one. Okay. So yeah, entering everything unless it comes up as a stick or, when you scan the cups of rice, it comes up with 1 cup. All right. That's going to be correct. So in those instances, yes, you can use cups or slice. But if you're adding it in and it's got the grams in there, you need to go by the grams. Yeah.
Hey Ash, it's Alex here. Are mils okay for like milk and stuff?
Yes, yeah, grams or mils. So no, ounces are okay, but I don't think anyone really uses ounces. I mean, if you want to use ounces for sure, but no tablespoons, no cups, right? Just imagine scooping out peanut butter. If you're scooping out a tablespoon of peanut butter, my tablespoon is going to be loaded up. But then if I went and weighed it, that's going to be a lot more than what a tablespoon is actually supposed to be. So you always weigh it by the grams, grams or mils, no tablespoons, no teaspoons, no cups, no quarter cups, anything like that. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It'll just be more accurate reading. I think that's all I wanted to cover with that. Does anyone have any questions about like entering food in like that?
Not really. I've been trying to do in English because I do have some lodge back from the past in Portuguese or Spanish. But yeah, I've been trying to change that. I was like, oh, maybe she would understand that. So
I think Alina, one of my old clients, she was doing that too, and she's Brazilian. And I was going through her meal plan. I was like, what is that? I don't understand that. All right, so I want to share with you guys. I will just share with you my MyFitnessPal, just so we can kind of have a play. Now it's going to look different because obviously it's on a computer version and not a phone. But when we are planning meals, I want you to, guys, at the end of the day, boring is best at the moment. Let me share this screen. No, doesn't want to. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. Can everyone see MyFitnessPal right there?
Mhm.
Cool.
Looks like you're in a bit of trouble today, Ash,
Oh, technology is not my friend today.
with your minus 211. Oh, it's remaining. Okay.
Oh,
Oh, no, not minus. Yeah, minus.
yes. So I haven't amended my dinner because I had to tweak my lunch. So I still need to amend my dinner. So I'm going to go into my food diary. So what I have done is I'm just so freaking busy. I'm going to eat pretty much the same foods every single day. Like my breakfast that's a non-negotiable. The reason I've created that breakfast is that's really to help my gut health, to give me lots of fiber, and that will give me brain energy. So I eat that at 4:30 a.m. and I don't get to eat again until roughly between 8 or 10. So it fills me up for that whole time. Therefore, just going to mute yours. Sorry, love. Yeah. That will fill me up. Okay, so I've just planned that, so I know that that's going to fill me up till I can at least have my meal too. So today threw me out because I didn't get to have my meal too until 3 p.m. today. So that's why I've had to just tweak a few things. But what I wanted to show you is how I would do tomorrow, because we need to plan in our food the day before. All right. If you're doing it on the fly. So even though today went a little bit differently, I still had everything planned in there and I still only got this one left. So now I just have to make a couple of tweaks to even that out. Okay. But because I was pre-organized and everything was already in there, it's just going to make it so much easier for me. So for tomorrow, I just want to give you guys an example. When you have the premium version, you can do things like this. So it's just so much easier. All right. I have actually gone and made all my meals. So I call them meal 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't like to call them breakfast, lunch, dinner, because then that's what it is. It becomes that meal. And it just, your mindset around it, like when you have snacks, that's why I don't like calling them snacks either. I'd rather call them a meal because you see it as a meal and it's time. So you know when you're going to have it and you're not just reaching for foods just because. So I currently have 4 meals. I have saved them, so it's just so easy for me to copy and paste in. So my meal 1 is that one you just saw, which is here. My meal 2 is there. My OTC is just something that for me to remember when I change my meal plans around, right? So it's in there. So all I need to do tomorrow is, every time I use Loom, everything slows down for me. So I'm really sorry, guys. So tomorrow, all I need to go is add food. And sorry, this is what I do tonight. I go to meals. I'm scrolling down. So meal 1, add in. It's done. Now, I know I currently am out of flaxseed, so I'm just going to remove that. And I'm currently, no, everything else is good. I'm topped up on everything, but I'm going to change this quickly because I actually am only going to have 20 grams tomorrow. So really simple little tweak. That took me 2 seconds. All right. Same with meal 2. All I need to do is add that in. Meals. Meal 2. Done. Now, sometimes when I'm making, oh, where'd you go? Great. Right when I wanted to have a good example for you guys. Yeah, let me do that again. Hopefully it won't add it in twice. Yay. Okay, cool. So sometimes my chicken breast that I use the packet shredded chicken because I don't have time to prep my chicken. And I despise dry chicken. So it has to be kind of like fresh or cooked on the day. And I don't have time to cook it on the day. So I use the packet, right? Sometimes this one's out. So there's a peri peri one that I use, but it's in there regularly because I've scanned it. When you have the premium version, it remembers the food that you eat regularly. So it'll be in there and I just substitute it out and add it in. Yeah. So this has just made my whole life so much easier. And then what you can do is if you're having the same breakfast or meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, and dinners are going to be different, at least you've planned out most of your day so that when you get to dinner, you might only have to make a couple of tweaks. So if I go in, I'll go add in meal 3. I'm such a creature of habit, but because I am trying to get back on track and I've got a goal now, I'm just going to be 100%. I know this works. When I can have it all pre-planned, have my meals there, I only need to make small tweaks. It makes my life so much easier. I'll just add in this last one so I can have a full day and show you guys. Cool. So that's me prepped for tomorrow, right? I've got a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbs to add in. So I'm actually just going to leave that because I find that sometimes if I can sneak something in here while I'm on the floor, I'll just quickly run down and maybe get a protein shake with just banana and whatever, 20 grams of protein. So it'd probably be like half a scoop of protein powder. So it just gives me a little bit of freedom to kind of tweak things for the rest of the day. But super easy. That took me less than 5 minutes to do. Yeah. Okay. Bear with me. Does anyone have any questions about that, guys?
No, I
No,
actually
that's
been doing the same. Yeah, I used to do that. Because I told you, I usually eat the same thing every day because I meal prep like on Sunday and Wednesdays when I finish my day a little bit early. I might just like change a meat or something. Even the kids, like for dinner, we just change some veggies or, like just a side dish.
Yeah, so same with me. Like if I've got this in here, but sometimes like middle of the week, I might run out of capsicum or I haven't prepped something and I'm like, oh, can't be bothered. And there's, the frozen veggies that you can get from the in the freezer section. So I'll just sub that out and scan in that instead. So it just makes it easier when you've got the base of what you're going to be eating, and then you can just sub and tweak out as you need to. What a really good thing is I'll just stop showing that for a moment. The food swaps guide, I'll just bring that up. Has everyone had a look at the food swaps guide?
Mm-hmm.
That
It's been
is,
very useful for me.
Yep.
that is like one of the best things I got this lady to make for me actually, but it's one of the best, where's it gone? Best and most useful tool that I've got to help with tracking. So I'll share that one for you guys. So perfect example, right? So using that same meal plan that I had, if I only needed 20 grams of carbs and I think no, it was 20 grams of protein and can't remember how many carbs. That'll be super easy for me to find, even just looking through that Smart Food Swaps. So if I go into, I know that I can just quickly get a quick protein source from protein powder. And then I might go to the carbs and go, okay, well, how can I fill the remainder of that in? So I'll scroll down to carbs, not too far. All right, so obviously these carbs are quite, I think I only needed about 40 grams. So I could literally just have, a large banana. So all I need to do then looking, okay, I just need 40 grams of carbs. I'd probably go and see what 30 grams is, because that'll take me over in my protein a little bit. And then I can maybe add a little bit more carbs and get Suda or something to add honey in there, like a splash of honey. And that will take the carbs up but keep the protein down. Yeah. So this is another really good tool to just keep referring back to that. So you start to learn, like when we go down to the fruits and veggies, what's a higher fruit of, what's a fruit that has higher carbs? What's a fruit that has lower carbs? And then make your pick from there. Here we go. So
This is super handy, Ash. I've used this heaps of times. It's really, really handy.
I'm glad you like it, because obviously it took a lot. But it is really helpful when you can just see, instead of like scrolling through, this one gives you like that quick overview. So if you needed 40 grams of carbs, right, you'd be opting for more of these fruits down the bottom, right? If you only needed a small amount of carbs and more volume, you looked for your strawberries. What's that? 150 grams of strawberries only gives you 5.9 grams of carbs, whereas a banana, 150 gram banana, gives you 29. So neither are wrong. It's just about finding the macro balance for your day and balancing it out to fit what your goals are. And that's why I don't like initially writing people meal plans, because I want to see what you're eating, and then I can help you make tweaks from there, rather than me saying, go eat this, go eat this. And it's like, well, it just doesn't align with me. And I don't have a family to feed. It's just me, and I make my partner cook his own food because I want to prep my own meals, right? So I don't give meal plans straight off the bat initially, because I want you guys to learn these things, because you need to understand how to swap out food when you go out, or how to swap out food when food runs out or things don't go to plan. Yeah.
Or when you only have leftovers from your kid when they're learning to eat.
Don't snack on the kids' leftovers, Savannah.
Oh, it's so
No.
easy. Yeah, I know. So easy to do.
I've been keeping
I
on
cook
a
such good
fridge.
stuff for him.
Yeah, like half of banana or something like
Yeah,
that.
one
And
for
then
him, one for me, one for him, one for me.
I
Right?
was doing that. I did not even realize, but I was doing this a lot.
You don't realize, and it actually all adds up. Those tiny little bits that you eat
Yeah,
really,
it
really
does.
add up. Yeah.
And a lot. Yeah.
So initially, guys, in these first few months, you need to, I know it seems a lot and you're like, why? This is too much. This is so hard. You need to go 100% from the get-go, because it will get easier. All of these processes, it's like, for me, they're just now effortless. And I promise you, they will become effortless. When I first started tracking my macros, I was working with a coach. It was like 2016. She was getting me to do all this. And I'm like, oh, this is so dumb. Like, why am I weighing all my freaking food? I didn't get it. I gave up. And guess what? Didn't get results, right? Once I started to really understand the value and the importance of this, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to start doing it. And then it becomes easier. And again, the paid version of MyFitnessPal will make your life 20 times easier. The free version, look, it's there, but it just makes your life more complicated. Yeah. So I highly recommend getting the paid the premium version, just to make life easier for you. Anyone have any questions about that?
I don't have any questions, but last night I discovered how much of prawns you can eat.
What?
How much of prawns you can actually eat.
A lot, right?
A lot. I mean, I made a laksa but I logged every single thing. I
Yeah.
made it from scratch, and it was such a filling meal. and I didn't feel deprived or sad or anything of that sort.
And that's the thing, you can literally eat anything you want as long as we just follow those rules and those guidelines, which I will touch base on shortly. Actually, let's go through that now because this is of high importance. I'll share again. Now, the reason I've set these rules, guys, is not to be an asshole, is to literally make sure that your health comes first and that we're finding something that you can sustain, a sustainable method for tracking your macros and staying on track, right? The biggest one that I feel a lot of people struggle with is the protein and the fruit and veg. A lot of women come to me and TMI, they're pooping every second day or third day. Their skin's not great. They lack energy, and it all comes down to you're not eating enough good quality foods. Okay, they're not eating enough micronutrients. They're not eating enough fiber. If you are hitting this every day, you should be going to the bathroom every single day, if not more than once a day. Okay, there's so much good bacteria and bad bacteria in your gut. This is going to eventually, over time, turn it into that good bacteria that we need. Also, if you're not pooing regularly, a lot of toxins are going to build up and stay in your body. All right. So if you're passing your bowels every second day, it's not healthy. Some people are, and that's okay. Yes, Savannah?
There is a good series on Netflix right now. I think it's only an hour about your bowel movements and how important the bacteria are. So it's worth watching.
Yeah, share it with
Although I knew this before, obviously from studies and study biology and stuff like that, there is a lot of research about it. It's kind of yucky at some point, but it's worth it, like to understand how your habits build even like depression, anxiety. It's always it's a lot related with your bowel movements.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. There's more to this than just, hey, I need you to get your fruit and veggies up. It really does affect, like you said, depression, anxiety. A lot of it comes from the food that we eat and what has been built up in our gut. Our gut is like our second brain. So it sends signals and hormones and other things to our brain, and that's actually how we feel. So I don't know if anyone has noticed yet, but once you've started to focus on implementing more fruit and veggies into your diet, how your energy has just automatically increased and you just feel a little bit more live. Has anyone just experienced that already yet?
I have in a way like bowel movements.
Yeah.
Much better, and the skin as well.
Yeah.
It was really dry, and I feel like I'm glowing up a little bit more.
And you see
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Me too.
You too, Vanessa?
Yeah,
A
definitely.
lot of people with skin issues, if you looked at what they eat or what they have been eating over like a couple of years, you know, like you do this, it's not going to probably fix itself in a month, but after 6 months of following this, you will start to really notice the changes. But you see people with a lot of skin issues, a lot of it, not always, comes down to what they are eating and consuming. And I guarantee you they're not doing that. Okay. All right, let's go through the start of this one. I'll pause on each page because I really want you to stop and ask me questions if you get confused about any of this. I know some of you already have done it, but I think it's really cool. We've got people who are still learning and people who are already kind of a little bit more ahead. So you guys can still jump in and say what's really worked for you and why, and just give insight to the other people as well to just give them some understanding and see people who have actually actioned it. Yeah. So please feel free to jump in, guys. So first thing we do, like I said, is you need to understand how many meals a day. There is not many people who can last on 3 meals a day. If you find that you have cravings, right, and you're hungry constantly, you need to look at spacing your meals out. Okay. If you're only awake from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m., sure, you can probably go with 3 meals. But most of us are up at, 5 or something crazy early, and we're going to bed at like 8, right? So how are you going to go from 5 a.m. to 8 with only 3 meals? Yeah. So that's why I highly recommend 4 is your minimum to eat. If you can have more and you like little meals, perfect. Have more and space them out. This is where it can come down to a little bit of trial and error. for you guys. Maybe you could start with 4 meals. And like I say, I don't like to call it a snack, but in this instance, we can just call it a little snack or a top up. Most people will find that they're at 3 p.m., 2:30 and 3, they have that slump, right? So that is a perfect time to add in a little protein and carbohydrate snack. Excuse the noise, my dog's chewing on his toy, sorry. So pick if you're going to have 4 meals or 5 meals. We probably don't need to go to the extreme of 6 meals unless you're up in the 2,000 plus for your calories and you do want to just space them out a little bit. So let's say we're going to go with 4 meals, right? The first thing you want to do is set the times for those meals. I said to you guys, I eat my first meal. Sorry, this was when I was having nearly 3,000 calories. My first meal is at 4:30. I need energy before I go to the gym and train my clients. Otherwise, I'm just brain fog, and then that's not fair on them. So I eat 4:30 before I go. If I'm lucky, I'll have something at about 8 a.m. Okay, so if it was my ideal world, I have 4:30. Then I'm going to space it out about 3.5 hours. So 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8 would be meal 2. In an ideal world, it doesn't always happen that way, but at least that's what I'm aiming for. And then another 3.5. So what's at 8, 9, 10, 11:30 would be meal 3. Then we've got 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. The next meal would be at 3 o'clock for meal 4. And then dinner would be 3.5 hours after that, or around about that 6. I try to have dinner about 6:30, obviously not tonight. Okay, so it's not always going to be 100%, but setting those times, what it does is it teaches you to create that space in between. And then you also know my next meal's not till 11. If I'm hungry, too bad. Yeah. If I want a little snack, too bad. I'm going to space it out till 11, because when I go into the low deficit, like I know when those calories drop, I'm going to be hungry because I'm in a deficit. Okay. It's part of losing body fat and losing body weight, if that's the goal. So I know that I need to space out that meal and hold off until 11:30. Okay. That's why we set those times. So you're also not going, am I hungry? Am I not hungry? Or am I just bored? All right. So it's too bad. That's the time that you set. That's the time you're going to eat. All right. Then your
Drink
body
water.
adjusts it. Pardon?
If you're hungry, drink water.
Drink
My
water.
mom used to say that, Mom, I'm hungry. Drink water. Wait for dinner.
Another reason why we have a minimum goal of 2 liters of water, like that's a minimum, right? So some people don't even hit 2 liters. Okay, so it's really important that 2 liters is your absolute minimum for water. Once we get that, that's when I want to start bumping you up. Cool. Okay, so we've set the times and we've set how many meals. We need to then spread out that protein. Protein is what's going to keep you full. So it is satiating. It's going to keep you fuller for longer. Okay. That's why it's also important that we've spaced those meals out. Meal timing is important, but it's not something we really need to focus on, because if you're just following this, you're going to tick that box and it's already going to be covered for you. So it's one less thing that you have to worry about. So if you've got 150 grams of protein and you've got 4 meals, that's 37.5 grams of protein roughly per meal. Now, what protein also does is when most people will be either in a build or a fat loss, either phase, right? We need to keep our bodies in a state of muscle protein synthesis. So what that means is our protein levels need to stay up here. As soon as we go into protein breakdown, we become catabolic. So obviously anabolic, most people know that term, anabolic steroids grow. Okay, so we want to stay anabolic. How we do that is to keep our protein up. So as soon as it drops into muscle protein breakdown, we start going catabolic. We start losing lean muscle mass, and that's absolutely what we don't want to do. For us to keep our metabolism high and to lose body fat. Sorry, this dog is killing me. Confiscating his ball. Once we want to keep our lean muscle mass up so that our metabolism increases. The more higher our metabolism the more we can either put on lean muscle mass or lose body fat. If your body starts to eat away at its muscle, so slowing down your metabolism, it's going to be a lot harder for you to lose body fat. You'll lose weight because it's eating into your muscle. But if you want that toned physique, we need to keep the muscle mass. Does that make sense to everyone? Like the difference between fat loss versus weight loss?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Makes
that makes
so much sense.
Yeah. So that's why it's also super important to keep that protein high. I'm not saying it because that's what it is. Like there's a reason to all of this. Yeah.
That's actually helped me in my head make it make sense.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I second that one.
Like what in particular helped you there?
Just knowing, like, I feel like it's pretty toxic, but like growing up, it's always been low calories, you lose weight, you get fit. But like hearing that, you know, we've got to keep our protein up because it helps us. Oh, just the way you explained it, I can't explain it like you, Ash, but it helped me a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to, like everyone wants to be, they say, I want to put on muscle, I want to look toned. Toned is maintaining your lean muscle mass or potentially putting some on, but losing body fat. That's what toned is. Weight loss is when you lose both. And that's what we want to avoid. We want that tone, well, most people want that toned physique look. Yeah. So we want to maintain as much muscle mass as we can, especially when you go into a deficit, your body wants to get rid of muscle mass because it expends more energy. So we need to try and preserve it. This is also why paired with resistance training. So the only way to maintain lean muscle mass, lift freaking heavy. So we want to aim for hypertrophy and strength. Yes. And we want to make sure that our protein is spaced out. When we go to sleep, most of the time, we're not completely going catabolic, but our protein stores will dip. So that's why, again, it's really important to eat breakfast before you train or eat before you train, right? So we start to load that protein back in and we start to build up the protein throughout our day, okay? Because it's dipped overnight. We need to shoot it straight back up as soon as we can and keep it high. Yes, Savannah?
So that was one of my questions. I'm used to not eat before going to training. I saw one of like your meal preps examples, and can it only be like a snack? I mean, like half a meal or something easy to eat? Like, I'm not sure, not like having the proper meal, because it's quite tricky for me. Like 4:30 in the morning, if I start to do like noises here, both of the babies can wake, or my husband as well, things like that. I'm not sure what to do. Usually I'm not that hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
If I have like a belly very full, I get a little bit dizzy, or like, you know,
Yeah.
with
Can
that
I say
feeling.
something to you? Because I was exactly like you, Savannah. I've never in my entire adult life ever eaten breakfast. And even I used to play a lot of sport, never even bothered eating before that, and I would come back and then, of course, eat everything I could lay my hands on. And I really, really forced myself to have something at about 5 o'clock or 4:45 or something like that now. And I was still like feeling I couldn't eat. And I've started making overnight wheat bakes and those kinds of things just so that I don't make too much noise in the morning. But I've found such a difference in just a few weeks, maybe even a week, with my stamina, my get up and go. And I just feel so much better as a result. But it's taken so much for me to just forget about how I actually feel and try and just follow the process. So I don't know if that will help you.
I love breakfast. It's my favorite meal. It's
So
literally
I
my
can
favorite.
understand you, because
I
actually,
can't go without it.
yeah, I can
Breakfast
understand
is
what
my
you
favorite
mean.
too.
Breakfast, it's one of my favorite too right now. I grew up not having breakfast because I'm from Brazil. So back home, you eat just when you have food. I came from a poor family, so we have like milk with coffee and that's it, like a flat white. And you go to school and you have food maybe by 10:30 or so, like something that the public school gave it to you. And then, I don't know, if you're lucky, you have like a big lunch and then have dinner, and that's it. But since I start training like properly, since I moved to Australia, I start training like to better goals, to have better goals, and then I start to eat breakfast. But actually, my trainer before Ash, we used to do fasting cardio and then have food and then and then training and then have food. So I was used to do that. So I kind of like get used to have my breakfast peacefully after workout. Like, because I feel hungry after workout, not before. So I'm not sure what to do. If I should like, I don't know, have half and a half, 2 meals.
All right,
What
what I would recommend. So fasted cardio doesn't equate to more fat loss. So as long as you understand that, if we have a performance goal and you have to do your cardio in the morning, you must eat before. If you're on a day where you don't have your training and you've just got your steady state cardio, your zone 2 cardio to complete, not everyone has that at the moment, but you might at some stage. Yes, come and do it fasted if you can. I still would recommend having something in your system before. So I don't recommend doing any weights training with no food in your stomach. So what I would do before is, again, because it's pre-training, you don't have to have that protein meal. It is recommended to, but before training, have something high in carbohydrates, simple, quick acting carbohydrates. If you don't want to eat too much before, if you can get up and have like a good solid meal, like maybe you can have a piece of toast with some peanut butter. Awesome. That is like such a good pre-workout meal. If you don't have the time, Isabella, she's allowed me to share this. She has like a little LCM bar and her coffee, and I think she has a banana. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's easy. Yeah, that's easy. Yeah.
something super small. Vanessa, did you say you had your up and go? Again, did you say you had up and go?
I make overnight wheat bix, just a little, like half a portion, because I also can't eat too much, but it's more than enough to keep me going.
Perfect. So yeah, you can have like a smaller portion of something. You need to find what sits well in your stomach. When you train on an empty stomach, especially with resistance training, when we're doing weights, our body pulls the glycogen and the carbs from our muscles. Have you ever done a training session and you felt so dizzy and just depleted? Because that's your body pulling the carbs into the muscle from everywhere else. Because the muscles need those carbs to perform. So if you've got nothing and you've depleted, because basically you're fasted overnight, if you've got nothing to pull the energy from, it's going to pull it from everywhere else. And that's why you get that dizzy, that sick feeling.
Yeah.
If you're then refueling it before you go train, you actually are, and this is where I love breaking these freaking myths of like old school, what do you call old school nutrition that they used to do. When you actually fuel your workout, you burn more because you push harder, you work harder, you break down the muscle more. So you do a weight session where you haven't eaten anything, you're doing it pretty much half-assed because you're literally just trying to get through the session. You do it fueled, you're going to push harder, you're going to perform better, you're breaking down more muscles because you're able to lift heavier. So the result of you just adding that little bit extra food before you train is significant. It is purely it's purely individualized. I cannot eat like a milky big meal before I train unless it's in the middle of the day. Start of the day, I can't do it. So I'll have like toast and peanut butter, or the best thing I like is rice cakes with honey because they are just pure carbs. Pretty much just pure carbs straight into my system, straight to giving me fuel. Yeah. I am fortunate I get to train at lunchtime. So I've got breakfast or meal 1, meal 2 already in my system before I go train. If I even could still repeat my day, I would still try and train at that time because my body's now got energy. I've loaded up so that I can push hard in my sessions. I hope, did that answer and clarify things for you? It is best to have something in your system. Even like half a banana is not really enough. you want to try and have like a full banana plus something else or something little, maybe a couple of nuts to go with it just to get your brain switched on.
Yeah, that's easy.
Hey, sorry, Ash. I train in the afternoon because I can't get there in the morning. Is that same goes for the afternoon? Like, should I have something carby before I train in the arvos?
What time do you train in the afternoon?
Probably 6 o'clock by the time I get home.
This is up to you because it depends just how you space the rest of your day out, right? So if you're eating a meal, one of your meals at 4 o'clock, you probably don't need to have a little extra snack because you've had meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, probably maybe meal 3 or 4. So you do have enough food and fuel in your body. You may need a tiny little top up.
Yeah.
But if you're eating closer to 2, 3 o'clock and then trying to train at 6, yes, I'll definitely have something in my system before. Something,
Okay.
most of the time, the food needs between half an hour to an hour to really digest and make it into that bloodstream. So at least have something. So same if you train in the morning, make sure you're trying to eat at least half an hour before you get to the gym. So it's got time to start digesting and make sure it's actually doing something.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cool.
Ash,
you- yep.
I think you make such it's like an epiphany for me right now, because previously I would get to gym not having anything, and then I'd be doing some kind of weights and then suddenly have to just sit down because I'm feeling so dizzy and want to pass out.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, with my nutrition improving in the last few weeks, I've actually not experienced any of that dizziness at all. So yeah, that makes heaps of sense. Thanks for that.
Yeah. That's all right. I'm glad. And it's nice when you see what you've done versus following it and actually see, you really see that difference. It's so easy for me to sit here and go, do this is why X, Y, Z. But once you actually experience it yourself, you'll never go back. You will never not train fasted again, I tell you.
Well, I never thought I'd get to a stage where what gets me up in the morning is actually the thought of my breakfast now.
Love that for you.
Good on you.
That's a huge improvement, Ness. Well done.
Yeah,
Well done.
thanks.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing.
Let's move on to the importance of your fruit and veg, right? So a lot of you guys have probably noticed in your MyFitnessPal, it automatically sets you a fiber target of about 25 grams. Yeah. Have you found that once you tick this box, you actually go over?
Mhm.
Ness, I think you were going over quite a lot.
Yeah, much better now since dropping it.
Yeah.
Heaps
I would
better.
rather though, because you're a little bit of an outlier here. You went from not much to a lot all in one, right?
Yeah.
Most people will normally sit at about 20 grams of fiber, but they just need to increase it more. So on MyFitnessPal, you can actually change that goal itself, just that fiber, to bump it up to 30, because most of us should be hitting 30. There is a rule that apparently is, it's 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories, right? So if I'm eating 2,000 calories, so 14 grams of fiber times 2,000 calories, it says I only need 28 grams of protein. I don't know if you guys know, but recently I had a lot of stomach issues. Couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I'm sorry if this is too much information. I was heavily constipated, really bad bloating, and just couldn't fix it. I was going by that fiber rule, right? Once I actually increased my fiber to up to 35, everything went away on its own. Everything went back to normal. So now I'm petrified of not eating fruit and veg, right? Because I don't ever want to go back to there again. And the weirdest thing was, I wasn't unhealthy, but I just wasn't enough protein, fiber, sorry. Right. So, and even then, the energy that I've had just from, again, increasing that has doubled again. I am nearly 33. I want to be getting fitter and healthier every single year. That is my goal. And I want to pass that on to you guys. If this is going to give you energy, vitality, all the minerals, the vitamins and minerals that you need, this is where you get it from. Okay. The fruit and the veg. I've put it as a rule because I want you to hit that first before we have the fun foods. I am all for the chocolate, the chips, the ice cream, whatever you need But this is just, it needs to be hit first so that our bodies stay healthy throughout this journey. Yeah. This looks like a lot, but it really isn't. The only thing I don't want you to include in your vegetables is like the heavy starchy ones, like your potatoes. Yeah, don't include that in your vegetables. I want spinach, tomato, broccoli, carrot, zucchini, capsicum, peas. I want that in your vegetables, right? Fruit,
Beans,
sorry,
beans as well.
beans, pretty much everything. Pumpkin, yes, but maybe let's know. All right, so let's
Mhm.
the green colors, and then pumpkin and potato are added in as additional carbs. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want you to make sure it's like all the colors, and then pumpkin and potato we will add in as carbs later. Okay, so they're the ones you do first for the veggies. Fruit, go ham. Right, I like to go sometimes for those smaller the lower carb ones so I can have more. I don't like looking at something like this and going, oh,
Me
that's
neither.
I need this.
Yeah, but we're not French.
I can't eat this. So you know what, if I know that I can have a whole punnet of strawberries and it's not going to be much, like that is just like a game changer for me. I'm like, yeah, awesome, give me 2 punnets, right? So that looks like I'm having more food. Okay, so yeah, fruit, go ham, do what you love with those, but just no need to go more than 300. Cool? Anyone have any questions about spacing that out? With your breakfasts, you can still add fruit or veg, right? So if you're an eggs and toast person, right, you can have spinach, mushrooms, make it into an omelet, spinach, mushrooms, onion, capsicum, you know, you can avocado, okay? You can still fill that up. If you're an oats or a wheat bix person, perfect time to add your fruit in there, berries. Some people do it with apple, some people do it with pear, right? So every meal should at least, unless you know those little snacky ones that we were kind of talking about before, every meal should have your fruit and your veg in it. Cool? Yes.
That's a bit of a game changer. I think that's where I'm going wrong. I'm just going snack bars and things like that, or protein shakes. It needs to be a bit more substantial. Yeah.
Look, time and place for the protein bars. I would highly recommend pulling them out until you complete this. Fill these in first. Add the protein bars back in if you are having a bad day and you're in a rush. You know, leave it for those times. Or you really, really enjoy the protein bars and that's your 20% soul food later on. Yeah. We need to fill our bodies up. You can eat. Who taught me this? And this is where it comes down to, you know how you're eating, they even did a Netflix on this too, eating plant-based food or foods, whole foods close to its original source.
Oh, I love that documentary. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So no, thank you. What they were kind of right and they were kind of wrong in that documentary, in the sense that yes, we should get most of our food as close to its original source as possible. So, you know, your oats, rice, potatoes, like they're close to their original source over wheat bix. All right. It's not the end of the it's not bad at the end of the day. But even things like let's opt for real meats and real proteins instead of protein bars, because what protein bars don't offer, there is about, I think it's 11 or 9 essential amino acids in protein. Our body can't actually make protein, so we have to get it from protein sources. We have to actually consume it. A lot of those protein bars won't have all those essential amino acids in it. They'll only have like 1 or 2, right? Whereas where you get your real protein sources, your meats, your eggs, all that kind of thing, you're going to get pretty much the entire amino profile from that food. Yeah? Sorry, I keep wafting on a little bit, but I'm hopefully this is all making sense to everyone. So we go for whole foods first, then we add on those foods after. So Jules, I'm all for the protein bars, but they're not going to fill you. This kind of stuff is going to fill you up. We'll keep you fuller for longer. We'll stop the snacking. We'll stop the cravings. Minimize it. It won't ever get rid of it. But these are things and tips to help you, will help you feel fuller to avoid those foods.
Mhm.
And you'll feel more energized. Yeah. So once we've added in these, okay, so that's why it's so important that you do those two first. So you do your protein, you do your fruit and your veg. Then we come back in and we play around. Okay, I really want rice with one meal. I'm going to have my Wheat Bix for breakfast. I'm going to have rice for lunch. I want a bit of pasta. I had pasta today. That's what threw me out. So my carbs are a little bit, I've got to change that because pasta is higher than what my rice was. Nothing wrong with it. Just got to make some tweaks, right? So that's when we go in and we add those foods. Okay, cool. I'm having mince. I'm going to have some rice with that. Or I'm having my blueberries in the morning. I'm going to have my oats or my Wheat Bix with it. Yeah. This is where you add in those carbs because you need them. You need fuel. You need energy. We don't want boring food. We want fun food. Okay. This is where you can also add in your potatoes or your pumpkin. So if you are having Wheat Bix in the morning, rice for dinner, and you've got your carby snacks in between, you may not have that much carbs to play around with. So this is where you can opt for something like pumpkin, where you can have a lot of pumpkin for not as much carbs. So you could have almost twice the amount of pumpkin that you could for a little rice cup. Neither is wrong. It just comes down to what carbs you have remaining for the day. And if you're I want my plate to look more full, or I don't really mind if it's small kind of person. Yeah. Also want you to add in the oils. This is where you add in the fats. So make sure that I love cheese and I feel like it gives everything so much flavor. So I love to sprinkle a little bit of cheese on in my dinner. Like that's my win for the day. What I've actually really enjoyed doing is on my more salady based meals with my rice where I'm not having sauce, I'm adding a tiny bit, about like 10 mils of coconut oil. Hello. I'm adding 10 mils of coconut oil in, and that's giving me a whole lot of extra flavor. Yeah. So the fats I normally leave for the end because some of your meats and your protein will take out of your fats. Some of your fruits and veg may, depending on what you pick. And you still got leftover. So you can add drizzles of mayo, butter, add some more oil if you want to cook with oil. This is the time to add all the fun stuff and add in the chocolate, right? Chocolate is mostly carbs and fats. Add it in. Don't deprive yourself of these things if that's what you want. Now, this is where if you're going to add in chocolate or protein, go for the full version. Don't go for the diet version, right? Pick the thing that you want and enjoy it. Paddle pop chocolate ice creams, they are like 90 calories, right? Then you go for these diet ice creams. They taste a little bit, sorry for swearing, crappy, right? They don't taste as nice. I would have rather had that paddle pop ice cream any day. You know, the dark chocolate versus normal chocolate. Everyone thinks dark chocolate's healthier. Go for the chocolate that you want. Just make it fit your day. Don't go for these diet ones unless you absolutely need to make it fit your macros. But really, we want to make our macros fit to suit that. Yeah. If you're a sweet tooth person, find a couple of alternatives to curb that sweet tooth. So I normally get my sweet tooth after dinner. So I have low calorie jelly on standby. I have the high protein custard on standby. Something that just, if I'm just like, no, I really need it, it's there. One ice cream's not going to hurt. Several ice creams are going to hurt. So just make it fit your day, have it there, pre-plan it. So you're not going, oh, I feel bad if I go and eat it and add it extra now. If you add it in, there's zero guilt in there because you've made it fit your day. Yeah? Cool. So if you follow these rules, you have absolute, like, so much flexibility in your diet. You don't have to have the ice cream every day. Maybe you can have it every second day, but it just means that you're not restricting yourself. The more you try to take something out and say, I can't have sugar, I can't have chocolate, I can't have chips, the more you're going to want it. Have it there, have self-control, put it in, and know once I've entered it in, I'm only having, like, let's go back to those Twix bars. I put the 2 Twix bars in. That's my limit. I'm not going to go back to the fridge and have more. I've put it in there. I've allowed myself that treat, and I'm going to enjoy it. All right, I'm wafting. All right. I hope, does that make sense, guys? I hope that has kind of cleared that up. Jules, has that helped you with that as well?
I think the 1 or 2 days that I planned ahead, and I think that was your tip to me, I definitely found that like if I literally just try and do it the night before, I definitely made a bit more of an effort to eat better. And believe it or not, I am actually eating better, even though I'm probably still over my carbs. I think it's yeah, I think it makes more sense. I've definitely cut out the snacking now, and I think what I need to do is that kind of meal 4. Yeah, I'm thinking around how I might just plan that a bit better. And yeah, about the gaps between. Yeah, I think that's important too, like not leaving too long between meals.
Because
Yeah,
if you don't plan it
spacing my day out.
if you planned a day on the fly, you are never going to be accurate, right? It's so hard. You're going to have probably, if you just ate what you felt like and kind of tracking it as you go, you get to dinner and you've probably got 80 grams of protein to hit and nothing else. The only way you're going to have that is like 3 servings of a protein scoops, 3 scoops of protein, or just pure egg whites, and no one wants that. Then I'm definitely going to go for something else, right? So if you can plan it out beforehand, it makes your life so much easier. There are so many times where I'm like, oh, haven't planned my food. Oh, I don't want to. And then you just remind yourself how much easier it's going to make your life if you just spend that 5 minutes before bed planning in your food. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can make those tweaks tomorrow, but you put out the foundation of what you're going to eat. Cool. All right, so guys, there is no sugar limit. I know MyFitnessPal sometimes probably says you're over. There is no sugar limit, because if you're hitting those rules that I've set for you, you're not going to eat anything detrimental in terms of sugar. Okay, so don't worry about that. Fiber, let's up that to try up to 30. It's going to depend on what your calories are, though, at the end of the day. So anywhere between about 25 to 30 is my recommended range. All right. I have more. Sorry, guys. I didn't want to keep you too long today, but I do want to kind of cover a lot. Let's talk about, I do want to explain, actually. Here, I want to share this one. Sometimes you're probably wondering how I get those calories and those macros for you, right? So 1 gram of carbohydrate equals 4 calories. 1 gram of protein also equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. So let's, as an example, I hope you guys can see this too. So someone who has 150 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, 80 grams of fat. We're going to times 150 by 4. We're going to times, 200 by 4, and the fat was 9, right? So let me quickly do my maths. So 150 grams of protein equals 600 calories. 200 grams of carbs equals 800 calories. Oops. Am I going too fast here for anyone? Is that making sense? 80 grams of fat equals 720 calories. So this person, their calories for the day would be 720 plus 800 plus 600. So their calories would be 2120. Does that make sense? That's how calories and macros dictate calories. Yeah, and vice versa. So I will either do it from the calorie that I want you on and then figure out your protein, carbs, and fats. Or I might, if you're going into a muscle gain phase, I will normally change it based off macros first, which will give me the calories that I need you to be on. Cool. Just I thought that would be cool for you guys to see how I actually do that for you. That was a quick version. All right. What else did I want to show you? Does anyone have any questions about that?
I have a real life problem for you. So I
Okay.
planned out my day yesterday. It was amazing. I told my girls, look, I've played Tetris. I managed to make everything fit. I've even got dessert and ice cream and my gluten-free homemade brownie and everything in there.
Yep.
And I had my pre-workout at 5:15 this morning, came home, and I got hit with meetings up until now. I have not eaten.
Hey,
What would you do?
that's exactly what's happened to me today, but I'm going to make sure I eat all my meals.
Oh, you're going to sit down and have a great evening. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, it's just really important because if I start under eating today, it's going to carry over into tomorrow, right? So if I start skipping meals, or not saying to skip meals, but if I don't eat, I'll probably just change your dinner and make it one meal but bigger. And then maybe if you've got a lot of carbs over, go for like faster acting carbs, so it will just absorb quicker. So you can do you need to try and get as close to those calories still, whether you need to drink it or change out the food that you're eating, but you want to still try and get it as close to the calories. As soon as you start under eating, it just transfers over. So if you are under by like 500 today, you're going to feel very, very hungry tomorrow. And then that's going to carry over still to the next day.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
So please eat as close to your calorie goal as possible. I don't expect you to force feed yourself, but I want you to still try, and you might need to just change the food. So less volume. You know, if using a guy as an example, if they did that, I'd say go get Macca's. Right? Because
I like food now, Ash. I won't have to force feed myself. I'll very happily eat it.
woman, who are you?
Big mindset change for me.
That's huge. And I know because I've been on this journey with you. So that's a huge win.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to quickly touch on levels of tracking, okay? Because not every day is perfect, and I totally understand that, but we want to be aiming for, levels. And at the end of the day, calories are the top tier that we always go for. So level 1 is what we're always trying to hit, which is what we're doing now: proteins, carbs, and fats. There's days when things go out the window, like Ness, like today. So main thing I want you to then opt for is level 2 tracking. Level 2 tracking is where we still hit our calories and we still hit our proteins, but if our carbs and fats are not spot on, that's okay. All right, so it might have a higher fat day or it might have a higher carb day. So that's level 2. We are always opting for level 1. That is our priority number 1. Level 2 is when shit happens, right? Things happen, like you have meetings, your day gets disrupted. This is what you aim for next. And then level 2 and level 3 can be used also when you're going out for dinner or you've got events on the weekend. All 3, you still always hit your calories. Level 2 is obviously you hit your protein as well. Level 3 is it's out of your control, but you still hit your calories. Your protein might be super low. We don't want that every day, purely for everything that we've discussed in the rest of this call already. All right, so it's only if situations arise which are out of your control, the only thing that you can do is track your calories or get your calories perfect. So top tier, level 1. Level 2 is our next best option. Level 3 is if we have no other option, that's what we go for. Yeah? Any questions about that, guys? Cool.
Yeah, I think it all makes sense now. Thanks.
Yeah, it
Ash.
makes sense for me too. Yeah.
Awesome. Hope this is clearing up a lot for you guys. Well, let's talk about how we go kind of with eating out, because we are going to eat out. There's birthdays. There's always something on. You and your spouse want to go out for dinner, or your best friend, you want to catch up, okay? When you are in this stage, we are still learning. We are still bound by the rules. You need to look at the menu ahead if you can. Some really cool places you can suggest is Grilled, because everything's already in MyFitnessPal. Subway is already in MyFitnessPal, right? So Jules went out to dinner. Jules, I'm just going to use you as an example. She went to Kintai on the weekend. She looked ahead at the menu. She chose what she was going to eat. She put that roughly, you're never going to be 100%. She guessed what she was going to eat and she entered it into her dinner in MyFitnessPal. Then you go back and retweak the remaining meals so that you can enjoy that dinner. Okay. This is where, again, measuring out will help you guess that portion size because you're not going to know what they give you. I always overestimate to make up just in case. They're going to add oils. They're going to add lots of fat. They're going to add so much extra stuff on there. So over guesstimate. I like to use this example. So if you're going to, my favorite meal is spaghetti bolognese. So if I go out to, I went to Beach House. All right, I had my steak then. The time before, I had spaghetti bolognese because I wanted to, right? But I knew I was going to go for that. So I had no idea what was going to be in their spaghetti bolognese. I know it's going to be beef, and I know there's going to be spaghetti. All right, I know it's going to be some sort of spaghetti bolognese. So it's not going to be 100% perfect. And I know that because I'm not going to sit there and ask the chef, how much did you put in? What did you do? Like, that's just crazy, right? But what I did is I just went into MyFitnessPal. I typed in spaghetti bolognese and I looked up the one that kind of had the most in there. Oh, here, I'll just go to the chat. I looked at the one that had the most, the highest kind of calories. And looking at that, I know there was entries in there that are about 200. That's all right, Ness, if you have to go. I'll record it so you can watch the rest. Bye. I know that wasn't going to be 250 grams, right? That's probably more 500 plus. Okay, so I found one that was about 500 grams and I entered that in and that's it. I made sure it had, I know there's beef in there, so I made sure there was enough protein. I knew that there was spaghetti in there, so that's going to be higher carbs. So I made sure that the carb content was quite high. And I know that there's going to be fat because there's fat in meat, there's going to be fat in the cooking oil, and there's going to be probably fat in the sauce. So as long as it had macros that were quite high, the calories were quite high, I knew that I was looking at the right kind of one. It's never going to be accurate because I don't know what was in there, but guesstimating is the best way to go. Yeah. So when you're going out to dinner, try to look in advance what you're going to have. If you want to have alcohol, that is totally fine. Please just add it in. I have put that video in my in the Facebook group about how to track alcohol. It's really important that you track it that way. So make sure you include it if you want a glass of wine or you want a drink. It's totally fine. Just, again, treat it like you would the meal. Once you've added it in, go and readjust the remainder of the day to make sure that you can enjoy that meal without feeling guilty. Yeah. All right. I just will address some of the questions that some people had, if that's okay. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? Anything that I haven't covered that you are wanting me to chat more about? I want to let you guys go pretty soon.
No, I think all the questions that I posted you already covered. One was about like dinner out, like having a meal off or something. I think I type it.
Yeah, and cravings.
And cravings. Yeah, you spoke. What? You can. Yeah, the other thing was about cravings and the time of the month. Sometimes I feel like I'm not a sweet tooth person, but I do have like a peak of craving a sweet thing around thank you, filha, a mamãe tá conversando.
Around the time of the month.
Yeah, and not in between like lunch and dinner. I think I create a habit because while working, the only time I have was like to have like a protein bar in between lunch because I didn't have time. So I sneak out like the surgery, like have something like with the quick water or something and then come back. So I think this was like a habit for myself. So I keep doing that because I still have some package, but it's filling on my macros. But sometimes I feel hungry. It's not like craving something. It's just like, oh, I need like the double of this food.
Yeah. So with cycles, there's a lot of people who say like to change your nutrition and change your training around your cycle. The reason I don't is because we kind of want to start to learn and understand how our body's going. I don't change training around cycle because I find that we do normally have peaks and flows within a cycle anyway of training. With nutrition, 100% you are going to feel hungrier sometimes the week before, and this depends on per person, sometimes the week of. So anywhere between the week before, the week of, you're gonna be more hungry. It's because the way our hormones go throughout our cycle, it increases our hunger. So it's really good to track your cycle, because when you know that you're coming into that week and you're feeling hungrier and you're craving those sweet things, make sure you have those options there for you and allow yourself to have it. If you go over by 100 calories in the week before because you're just so hungry and you needed that chocolate, 100 calories is fine. It was there and you pre-planned it, or you just went over a little bit, right? If you, though, go, oh, I'm ravenous, I haven't pre-planned anything, and you end up going 500 calories over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, that's going to make a big difference. One day of only going over just a little bit is not the end of the world. So when we know that it's coming, like I know the week before I'm so sluggish, headaches, craving chocolate like a monster, I make sure I have it there to curb those cravings. I will just change the day around, change my macros and my day to suit that. So I know when it's coming, I'm going to not feel guilty about wanting the chocolate, because I know it's just my hormones. I don't know, I just want it. So just allow yourself to have it, just adjust everything to suit that. Does that make sense for everyone?
It does.
Cool. So Alex, what did you ask? Meal prep. So quick, easy tips for meal prep. Yeah.
I mean, the past couple of weeks have just been crazy for me. So I've been trying to stay on my macros as much as I can, but I've been eating a lot of frozen meals. What meal have we been using? Core Power Foods is the frozen meal that we've been using at the moment, just because we're moving and in the middle of some stuff. Is there any like recommendations? Is that like a good brand we've been finding it's fine?
Yeah. Honestly, with those kind of meals, it's whatever. Bye, Savannah.
See you, Savannah.
Whatever you
Sorry, at that time.
No, that's all right. Sorry. I won't be too much longer for everyone else. When you pick meals, pick whatever fits your budget, whatever fits your macros day, right? There's no good, there's no bad. It's just about whatever is the best for you. Just try not to have too many. A lot of my stomach issues came because I was so busy and I was opting for the, I'm just can't even think of the meal. What are they called?
Like the frozen meals, U-Foods.
Thank you. Yes. I was opting for a lot of them, and then your fiber content is not going to be as high. So just be mindful of those.
I have been noticing that, yeah. And as soon as we're talking about the fiber before, I was like, I can't wait to get back on track again, because I've definitely noticed some issues even in the 2 weeks that have been crazy. Like it can change really quickly.
Have them in the freezer for those times when you need something prepared quick and easy. Like have them there. They're not bad. They're great for that. Try not to rely on them all the time. So you don't want to be having like 2 a day every day. But a couple throughout the week is not going to be bad for you. Now, meal prep, it really is dependent per person. So I'm just going to use myself as an example. Isabella wanted to be on this call because she wanted to share her meal prep, but I'll get her to share it at another time with you guys as well. So I do not like eating like I said, dry chicken, reheated chicken. So
I hate that too.
To save myself time, yes, it costs me more, but I buy the packet chicken. It's about that big, or there's a packet one. It's already cooked. And I literally just open the packet and tip that in. So I just cannot stand cooking chicken. Some other people will cook it in batches. So maybe they do it on a Sunday night, but it will last only Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Maybe they might have to do another cook up on Wednesday. Okay, so you could look at doing 2 cook-ups for the week.
Yeah.
Once you have planned it out, it just takes that time to initially plan it. It's not time consuming. It'll save you more time during the day. So that little bit of extra work you have to put into that cooking and the meal prep will save you time when you're super hungry and need food straight away. So to make my life easier as well, I cut up all my vegetables. I dice them all up and put them into separate containers, because then I literally just have to grab it out and weigh it out and it's already there. It's done. I opt for the rice cups over cooking rice. Again, yes, it's more expensive, but it just saves me so much time and energy. With my breakfasts, because they need to soak overnight, like I'll go make mine now, let it soak the night before, and I'll do about 3 days in advance because I'm doing it all. Why not just do it there? So I'll do that normally on a Sunday and then do it again on a Wednesday night just to top it up for the rest of the week. I normally really try to structure Monday to Friday because I know I'm going to have a little bit more flexibility on Saturday and Sundays. Basically, my breakfasts are probably still going to be the same, but lunch and dinner, I might want to have a little bit more flexibility. So it really is dependent. If you could also go down the route of cooking up a really massive, like say, going back to the spaghetti bolognese, cooking up a huge pot of the beef, the sauce, all the stuff that you want to put in there, make it as a recipe in MyFitnessPal and then just divide it up. So split that recipe into 5. So then you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday dinners. Maybe you could freeze 3, keep 2 fresh in the fridge. Yeah. So there's heaps of different ways you can do it. Most of the time it's best to do a Sunday and a Wednesday to just keep your meals a little bit fresher. And then you've always got the pre-made frozen meals there if you need a top up for anything. But try to have protein prepped and ready in whatever form or whatever state you like to eat it in. Even if it comes down to when you buy your raw chicken, dividing it up into the grams that you need and putting it in little freezer bags just to keep it separate. So there's one less bit of effort that you have to do. Then all you need to do is just cook that piece of chicken. Okay, so it's just meal prep basically comes down to whatever's going to make your life easier throughout the week to make sure that you stay on track with your goals. And everyone does it different.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'll make it work. Thanks, Ash.
But again, put that in there because that's just how I do it. Everyone's so different. So I'll get Iz to share how she does it. But if anyone has any suggestions as well, like Bianca, how do you meal prep? Jules, how do you meal prep? I know, Jules, you're still kind of getting used to it, but are you doing anything at the moment?
I used to do it. Yeah, I used to do it like ages ago. It's just easy, just bake everything. Like I just bake chicken breast, few herbs. Yeah, but it's like I think it's different now that I've got a family. Like it's just he doesn't always eat what I eat, so it's sort of like trying to juggle all that. Like I'm already meal prepping for my son, and I freeze all that, or he has it like the next day. But he eats better than I do at the moment, so that's the problem.
But like you said, like you can put the oven on and start baking things while you cook his, and then that's kind of like, well, by the time that the oven's done, you've done his, and then you've got yours. So.
Plus, my husband's an ex-chef, so it's also hard because whatever he cooks is delicious. So it's definitely high in fat and carbs. So, but it's not his fault. I've just got a portion size. So it's all
you
good.
just got to talk to him and go, babe, this is my goal. I need to do this. Otherwise, I'm going to keep staying where I am. So I need to make some changes. I love you and I love your cooking, but you need to help me. All right? Don't make it so damn delicious.
How dare you?
Yes, I know.
So Alex, one of your other questions was taking you out for lunch. You're gonna not love it, but I would highly recommend, especially in these initial phases, bringing your own lunch. Okay, for the time being. And you just need to be open, and I'll say I will happily join you guys for lunch, but please, I've just got a really big goal that I'm focusing on at the moment. And it's really important to me. So if it's okay, I'm just going to bring my own lunch this week.
I have tried that and I got paid out something chronic. They were like, oh, Alex, come on. It's just one, like it's going out once, just have a beer. And I'm like, oh.
But Alex, they, when you actually flip it, right, are they healthy?
No, they have I had Hungry Jacks today and they offered me again and I was like, no.
Are they healthy people? No. So of course they're going to push they're going to push their shit onto you because they want to be doing that. They don't have the discipline to do it themselves. So they're going to project that to everyone else.
Yeah.
I find this even within the family as well. Like Reese, as soon as he started watching me like meal prep, they think, oh, okay. You know, my dad pays me out for tracking, weighing everything. But now that they can see the other side, they come around eventually.
Yeah.
It does get under your skin, and I totally understand that. And it's like it gets frustrating. But you honestly, after a few times of you saying, no, thank you, no, thank you, I really would like to just stick to my goals.
Yeah. They
sub-
offered me Hungry Jacks today, but they were like, "Oh, Alex, I know that you're going to say no, but do you want some?" They're just offering to be nice,
Yeah.
but more when we go out to lunch and they're paying for lunch, it's harder because they're like, it's like, "Thank you for working so hard this week."
Yeah.
It's like they are saying thank you, and I've tried to say no, I'm happy to stay at the office. But because it's also a new job, I don't want to like, yeah, it's a hard situation. So I've tried to like go for meals when we do go out for lunch that I can easily track on MyFitnessPal. So I guess I was just looking for some tips when I'm like in a position where they're taking us out to lunch and it's like a thank you for a hard week. You know, what are some options that I could go with, like steak and veggies or something like that? Or
Yeah. Find a protein source first. So
Yeah.
look at the menu for one, like it's hard when you go to a pub. A lot of it's like chicken parmigiana or like deep fried something. So look for like the cleanest kind of protein option. So a steak is great because you can always ask for the sauce on the side. Chicken obviously just depends what they're putting on top of it. Sometimes you can actually just ask, "Oh, can I just have a piece of grilled chicken?"
Yeah.
And you can add sauce. I would, depending on how much calories or how much carbs you kind of left for your lunch anyway, will be dependent on what your side is. If you were going to have rice and something high carby for lunch, you can get away with maybe a couple of chips or rice. If you didn't have much carbs allocated for lunch, I would go for like the salad or the veggie option and make sure you just ask for the dressing or oils on the side or not to be cooked in oil. Or if they did cook it in oil, to say, "Can you let me know if this is cooked in oil?" Because sometimes the chefs don't want to play, and so you can, at least then you know, and then if you need to take something off for dinner, you can take something off for dinner.
Yeah, I'm really trying to, like, I've been saying no most of the time, but when they take us out to lunch, it's a little bit harder to say no to that because, we're going out as a office. So,
And
yeah,
once a
thank
week,
you.
it's fine. You know, it's not the chocolate. If you go over by 100 calories because it was out of your control, like 100 calories isn't like a end of the world.
Yeah.
It's when you then go, "I will just fuck it and I'll just eat whatever." That's when it starts. You're just not creating that discipline. So just try your best to pick a good quality protein. Look at how much carbs you allocated for yourself. Will depend on what you choose as your side. Just get your oils, get your sauces on the side so you can add what you need to fit your macros.
Thank you so much for those tips. That's really helpful. I didn't even think to get sauces or anything on the side. So thank you.
One of your last questions was, is it best to have less carbs at night? No.
Yay. Love that.
Like the same, try and space your carbs out evenly. If you ate 30 grams of carbs in the morning or 30 grams of carbs at night, it makes zero difference. It's being consistent. Some people, I need carbs at night, it helps me sleep better. Some people are the opposite. It just depends on someone's makeup, their body composition. Some people are ecto, some people are endo. Yeah, carbs at night is totally fine, especially if it's going to help you sleep. I'm all for it.
Cool. Love it. Thanks, Ash.
Nice. All right, guys.
I'm going to ask around that. Like, no, wait, sorry.
Yeah, go.
Oh, no, it wasn't just about the carbs because I feel like I'm always over the carbs. So like I have to have a couple of meals and you've seen my tracking. Yeah, I don't really diet. So I don't know. Is that a bad thing? Yeah, I'm not though. I know what I need to eat. I just don't want to eat it. I think that's the problem. But is it bad to do that? Like if I'm doing more protein, say one meal, like, I am trying to have more salads now, obviously, because I have to, just because I like having carbs in the morning and I like having carbs at night. Is that really a bad thing? Like one or two of the meals, just having it more, I guess, protein heavy, like, I don't know. Maybe I need to read the booklet. Yeah, I need to read the booklet. Yes.
Remember we spoke about before, the protein timing is quite important. So let's use that 50 gram example. So what did I say? 150 over 4 meals, did I say? So ideally you should have 37.5 grams over the space of the meals. You're never going to be 100% accurate. Your dinner might be a little bit more protein. So you might end up having like more 45 grams of protein in the dinner. And then it doesn't matter if one's a little bit less, but you don't want it to be like this throughout the day. we want to try and keep that protein intake pretty consistent throughout the day. That is going to optimize
Right.
the body composition and help you either put on lean muscle mass or burn body fat. So protein is the one that you do need to kind of space out and keep it pretty even throughout the day. Carbs and fats, yes and no. Sometimes some people can be really receptive to like the carbs can increase your blood sugar level. So some people are really like tolerant or intolerant to that. So it'll affect them quite differently. So protein needs to be evened out as best you can. Carbs and fats don't 100% need to be, but it's good to space it out to just regulate your blood sugar levels.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. All right, guys, we will wrap it up there unless anyone has any other questions.
No, all good.
Awesome.
No,
Thanks
you so much,
Ash.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so
Guys,
much.
I appreciate your time. I know I just thought it would be easy to address everyone's kind of questions all together. And it's really good. I love learning from other people. So I feel like it's really good once you see other people, how they do things. It actually helps you progress further. I don't know. It feels like you're not alone and that you're like, yep, okay, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. Anyway, I'm competitive. Cool. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I will record this. I'll send it to you individually just so that no one else can, listen to our conversation. Have a lovely, lovely night. And
Thanks, Ash. You too.
if you have a check-in tomorrow, do not forget it's due by 8 a.m.
I forgot. Thank you for telling me.
That's all right.
My day's out.
All right, lovely.
Cool.
I will we'll speak soon.
Thanks very much.
All right. Bye, guys.
Talk soon.
Have a good
Bye.
night.